Well, we have all heard that sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go. This may resonate with many of us because we have heard of this. We have heard of something like this before. And so, in this episode, I'll be diving into a both challenging but liberating topic. And this is the art of moving on. This is Beizzo's Kiboozi. We all encounter a moment in our life where we are at the crossroads. This could be in career, relationship, or even personal growth. But how do you know when it is time to move on? And more importantly, how do you gain the courage to do it? Well, moving on isn't just about leaving something behind. It is stepping into something new. And by new, I mean something unfamiliar. Because some people think moving from one toxic thing to another toxic thing is moving on. However, you're just remaining in the loop of toxicity. So, how do you know when it is the time to move on? Sometimes the signs are very clear, and sometimes they are not. Sometimes it's those small things like your inner voice that tell you you are not supposed to be here. At your workplace, it could be that nagging feeling that I'm not very important, or I'm not fulfilled, or I don't get satisfaction from this job. In relationships, it could be those constant arguments, or that point where you feel we could be maybe not meant for each other. The realization that you're not growing anymore, or the relationship is not serving you. So for the case of Uganda, in the corporate world, or even in my own experience, there is a pressure on staying in a job or a career just because it's a secure way of living, or because family and society expect you to stick it out, to make it. But it's not the only path. Some people make it in business, some people make it in passion, some people make it in hobbies. By passion, I mean people like musicians, people who choose passion. Then hobbies, people who could choose things like swimming, things like, because now we're in the Olympic season, there are people who chose their hobbies, got serious about them, got passionate about them, because I believe for something to be your passion, it should make you money. But going back, many of us stay in those jobs because of that pressure. I'll give an example. I have a brother. He pursued a degree in land economics while he was at campus. I know one time he will hear this, but he was not interested in land economics. Like, the heart was not there for that kind of thing. But the whole idea was that it looked like a good cause to family, to our father, things like that. Because of that pressure, he stayed in that course and finished it and even graduated. And I think even practiced for some time. But when time went on, he had to choose what he was interested in, and that was technology. He's a tech guru, I can say. He's our tech guru at home. the guy that comes in case we have an issue with with laptops, with internet, with things of that nature. But there was a point in his life where he realized that he had to move on to better himself. And as far as I know, his life is not bad, love. He's doing well. He's living a fulfilled life. He feels that he's doing the purpose he was meant to take on in this thing we call life. So in moving on, there is also a great fear which is caused by what we call the comfort zone trap. When you're in your comfort zone, it's quite cozy, quite familiar, quite safe, and you can't blame anyone. Maybe only your brain, because our brain is tuned to process things it's only familiar to. That's why when we were in school, the first time we were given math equations or even chemistry, those molecular things, more concept and all that, those difficult things. At the first time, those things were hard. But when we were doing the examples with the teacher, many times, in and out, your brain gets familiar with it and so starts to process it. But this point of your comfort, life as we know it, begins at the end of your comfort zone. It may be terrifying to move out of this comfort zone, but I'll tell you, it's definitely rewarding. Once you move out of the normal for you, you'll be happy. You will make it, you'll say, this is all I was missing. Because check, all the people that have made it in this world have done something that the world is not familiar with. They were first wrong and then later became correct. I had a small quote somewhere from, I think I was watching a TikTok, and the guy was saying that it takes just one idea for you to become a billionaire. And when you zone yourself to think out of the box, to think from what's not familiar, you have decided to make sure that your life moves to the right direction. Same thing with relationships. But relationships could be hard to talk about because these are matters of the heart. But I'll say it that it's important for you to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving you and when it's time for you to move on. Because sometimes the best way to love someone is to let them go. Because you will stick with that relationship and it will eat you up. It will eat you alive. You spend most of your time, because relationships call for a lot. You spend most of your time investing in it, and yet it's not serving you anymore. So it's giving you the signs to move on, but you're still sticking in because, like I've said, matters of the heart. Love is blind, and yeah. But anyway, moving on is very hard, and it requires trust and belief in yourself, self-awareness, that it's high time I left this group of friends. It's high time I left this habit. It's high time I went after my life with purpose. Because be like a bird. A bird does not land on a branch trusting that the branch won't break, but rather trusting that it will fly away. The ability for it to fly away. The ability for it to move on. When life breaks, in this sense that you're the bird and life is the branch, when life breaks, when life goes another turn, you should have the ability to fly away. You should have the ability to move on. So don't waste your time analyzing the safest place to land, the safest place when you should move on. No. Make a decision. If you're in a moment, enjoy it. Have all the experience in that moment. But trust that when the time comes, you have the ability to fly away. When the time comes that that moment has ended, you have the ability to fly away. Whether it's in your career, your life, relationships, moving on is needed and it's essential. When something is no longer serving you, move on to the next, because that's how life is. There is always something going on. Life always keeps on moving. It will not stop because this person doesn't love you. It will not stop because you've lost this job. There is always time for you to move on. There is always the next chapter of your life, because sometimes bad chapters can still make a good story. So what you should know is that the new life you deserve, the new life ahead of you, is going to cost your old life. If you're not ready to move on from your old life, you've not yet qualified for your new life. Don't hold on something so tight, because it could make you miss your next blessing or your next breakthrough. Because let me say you are at a workplace and you're very pissed, you don't like the job, but you're seeing adverts of positions in other companies, but you're like, this thing, what if I don't have money for the next months? What if? How about you start thinking in the direction that, wow, if this happens and happens well, what could come out of this? What's the degree that this could change my life to? Don't hold on something, because when you hold on it, it blocks the entry of the next blessing, because it's still there. It's blocking. It's like a door. If you're holding on the door and there are people out there trying to enter, your blessing is trying to enter, but you're closing the door with a tough hand. You're making yourself not experience the better opportunities. So do not be afraid to move on, because it may be the best decision you ever make. I'll end by saying that your direction is more important than your speed. Don't care about what people say, but take the new direction. And the speed may not be as fast as it was, but your direction matters more than your speed. So thank you for listening. And if you found this great, if you found this very helpful to you, please share it with someone that needs it. Leave a review, subscribe, follow, and let's grow a community of growth and personal development.